Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Fine.
How are you all today?
Good.
You all don't sound good. You're sounding like, eh.
I am doing wonderful.
Thank you, SGL.
I just because you're sounding like what is happening this week was rough.
No, this week was rough.
Okay, because that is what you all are sounding like.
And how was your week?
Befitment's week was a bit busy because, as some of you might know, we were in Tobago. We had some things to do, but we are also good. We are very, very, very good. Hmm. Any lessons this week? Anything that you encountered that you had to take a breath before you dealt with it? No? Paul, are
Yeah,
you there?
there was something, but to me it wasn't a big deal at all.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so on Saturday, a friend of ours was celebrating part one of her marriage,
Mm-hmm.
and went there early to have set up things, and so I was doing different tasks, whatever, and then at some point there was a request. So I'm in Boston,
Mm-hmm.
and it was in Brockton, about 45 minutes or an hour away, depending on traffic and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And so at some point, it's like, oh, can we send you back to Boston to get something? And I think for a quick moment, I thought about it. I'm like, and then I imagine I was there to serve.
Mm-hmm.
That was the task. And whether I stay or whether I go, that is still part of the larger scheme. Why I went there early. Therefore, I was like, okay, there was some arrangement that needed to be made. We made it, and I went and came back, and people were pleased with the service. I'm like, okay, I guess I did my part. The
Yes.
reason why I took note of that is because it was to me beyond just that event. It's what is the lesson to learn about our purpose, our mission, why we're here, and we are here to serve whoever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does it really matter at what capacity, right?
Yes.
If it's called upon us to do something, as long as it doesn't infringe on our core, right? Violate our core being, some of these things just flow off. And I think the initial reaction was the tiredness, the stress of having to drive. Once I welcome it, all of this thing fell off. It was just, it's another duty, another task, just like I've been doing. So that to me was like, hopefully I remember that to this journey, because when obstacle come, a lot of time we just think about being tunnel, having tunnel view. But if we look at it from a larger scope, the panoramic view, we go with the flow.
Yep.
So,
Because every single experience is for your expansion. And the faster you get to acceptance, the faster everything else will start to flow. Because once the challenge come, if you sit and you start to how and why this happening to me and all those questions, is just adding more stress. So the quicker you get to acceptance, okay, this is what it is. What is the next step? The next step reveals itself, and then you take it from there. Because everything presented to you is for your growth, your evolution, your expansion, your development. And that is what life is. It's a continuation of experiences. Even the ones that we deem as unfavorable, it is certainly for your growth, for your expansion, because you tend to learn more from those situations than from the good times or the good things or the positive things. That is where you tend to learn more from, even though we don't see it like that in the moment. So it is good that you can actually identify it now so that you can move quicker to acceptance and deal with it from there. Anyone else encountered anything this week where they had to take a breath before they proceeded? Paula, are you there? All right, so I guess Paula is not close to her phone.
I think for me,
Mm-hmm.
this weekend was one where in my head I was like, I'm not gonna do anything on Saturday. I was just going to like, sleep in and just relax. But it turned out that, something came up and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get up, I have to do this, I have to, you know, not do what I said I wanted to do. And then it was Sunday, Sunday's the day where you have to cook and prep and kind of get yourself in tune for Monday. And it was so strange that I remember I was talking to my sister and then she, you know, remind me of a phrase that she used and she's like, the question is, so what do you want to experience today?
Mm-hmm.
And I got up on Sunday and that was my thing, and that's what I said. And the day went by like so smooth, no hiccups. I wasn't tired. I felt energized. By the end of the day, I was like, wow, it was such a big difference from, getting up and going through the day in this, like the heavy mindset of, oh my gosh, I have to do this and I have to do that, versus just releasing everything and just letting it flow and just being. And it's hard to explain, but it's such a difference when you get up and you just allow things to be and you just allow things to flow, and it flows so smoothly that sometimes you're not even aware of the difference because we're so used to the chaos and the rush that just allow yourself to just be and allow things to just happen and just don't react. You just respond to the messages that you get in terms of what's the next step and what to do.
Yes, the quicker you move to acceptance, the faster things will tend to flow for you because everything that you're experiencing is really for you. But in the moment, you see it as a chore, you see it as work. But once you accept, okay, this is what it is, just like if you're in a school, understand the life challenges just as though you're in school, you're doing a new subject in school. And as it come, just as in school, we tend to think that when you're in school, you're here to learn, but in life, that is what you're here for as well, generally, to learn. But sometimes we comfortable in the position that we're in and we are not interested in expanding, but sometimes it's time for you to move on and it is time for you to expand. And for that expansion, of course, difficulties would come, challenges would come. And when they do, it is to remember in the moment, to be mindful enough to remember in the moment, this is for my development. What is the next step in this moment? It's not about thinking about what worked in the past and you did this already and you think that it should work out this way. No, it is really for your expansion. And once you start from there, you would realize that, okay, you would be, things would flow a lot easier. Because it's as though you're in school and you're asking why we have maths today, why we have social studies today, why we have English today. That is why you're in school. And that is what life is about. It is the same thing. You will be presented with things to expand yourself, to expand your capacity to love, to expand your understanding, to expand your wisdom. Because if the opportunity is not coming, then what are you here to learn essentially? So the next time that you are presented with something that you deem as difficult or something that you don't like, that is what you need to be mindful of. I know we were calling on Paula earlier, but apparently her mic is disabled. So, Anastasia, are you there?
Yes, I am.
How was your week this week?
My week was, what I should say, growth. I think I'll grow a little bit this week. Yeah, because I figured out some things about myself. And I figured it out. And I only figured out something about myself, you know. I realized the situations that in my life is to just what you were saying, to expand and to help me grow. So as a result of it, understanding that make me view the challenge in a different light. In a way, it was as if you're what? I'm not running from it no more. I'm standing up and I'm learning what it is I have to learn from it. Because truth is, I want to grow. I don't want to stay stuck.
Yes, yes, yes.
So yes. So as it was, yeah, I wouldn't say it was easy. It was painful, but the the part about it that was after the pain, it had a nice feeling because I finally get it. You know, I get it. I get how it's supposed to be. I get why all this coming in my life. I get it. You know, and that was good. That was good for me that I get it. So yes, that was my week. And listen to me, befitment is just so powerful that last week you said let us do some. We must this week we have to do some introspection, and I set out to do my introspection. And when I did my introspection and I realized certain things, the challenge come to match the what it is I realize.
Always, always.
And so I am telling you, this befitment program is just so powerful. It's like people hear what befitment is aligned with the universe. And everything that no, I am telling you, everything that every topic. It is as if you are being tested. Okay, you're sitting down here, you're getting all of this, you get the theory, time for the practical. Always, it all for me, it always have the practical side of it.
Yes. And you see, usually, once you have the tools, remember, life would test to see if you're utilizing it, eh? Because you really have to put the tools into practice. So life would definitely test to see if you are utilizing it or if you are making a choice to remain the same. Because once you make the choice to remain the same, you would, of course, get the same results. When you get the same results, you're asking yourself, why am I getting the same results? But when given the opportunity to make a different choice, you're making the same choice. So once the opportunity comes, you really have to be mindful to make a different choice if you want to experience different and live the best version of life that you would like to experience. You really, really need to make a different choice. And it is in making a different choice you would see the results that you would like to receive. And I would also like everybody to know that for this week, it is very, very focused on discipline. So if discipline is something that you might be struggling with, certainly reach out to us to be able to join the sessions Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You know, for a lot of us, we have a lot of discipline issues with resolutions, with exercise, with a lot of different things. Sometimes you have discipline challenges with simple life tasks. So if it is something that you are interested in, I am saying it before we discuss tonight so that you would know, so that once you are interested, let us know so that you could be part of this week's session, because this week's session is laser focused on discipline and why you may not be, you might start it, but you can't maintain it. So if you are interested, don't forget, reach out to us to be part of it. Every evening from 6 to 7. All right. So as it relates to tonight's topic, which is discipline, the path of freedom, what do you understand by the word discipline? Do you want to?
Setting clear intentions
Mhm.
and following through.
Okay. Anyone else? Or do you, some part of you, you see discipline as a chore?
It depends on the task. If it's something you think that it's something you enjoy, then it really is natural. But if it's something in to you that you're like, I don't know, I'm not feeling it, then it becomes more of a chore and it's more of a challenge to follow through.
And if that is the case, then you're seeing discipline more like right and wrong. So you're seeing it in the two aspects instead of just this is what is required for me at this moment in time.
I don't really see right and wrong. It's just depending if it's something you'd like to do, it's a little bit harder to maintain it. And if we talk about the word, the E word, that is my biggest challenge,
Mm-hmm.
exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that is more of a, like you start and then you start making excuses and then you just start cutting back and cutting back and cutting back. But if it's something you enjoy doing, you look forward to doing it, so you're excited about doing it, you can't wait. You know what I mean? You put more effort, you're more dedicated to it. So it's not right and wrong, it's just a matter of what you would say kind of pique your interest. And even though we might know the long term benefits, it's still is like, yeah, I know I need to do this and I need to move my body and I need to do that, but it's you have to put more thought into it.
But do you not see it as, I know I need to do this, but right now this is the wrong time, this is not the right time?
When is that? There's never a right time or wrong time. If it's something you want to do, you make the time for it. So it's to me, it's not a matter of right time or wrong time. I can talk for myself. It's just you make excuses for things you don't really want to do.
Okay. But why do you all think discipline is so challenging to achieve? What is it with discipline?
Your mind, and you have to work through the whatever you build up as resilience or whatever you build up as challenging, or whatever your mind tells you is like, oh, this is something that is a bit more challenging. It could be like from past experiences too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That you have to really push past that mind and the past experience to work through, to become more consistent, to then become very comfortable, and then, to get to that point of, oh, I enjoy doing this, you know?
I just wanted to. I was gonna say something earlier, and then Lisa said something that I think is more in line with what I was going to say. It has to do with consistency. When I think about discipline, I think there's a degree of consistency as opposed to motivation. You might be motivated, right? But there's gap in between. You're motivated today, you lack motivation tomorrow, but when you discipline, there's almost this consistency of thought and action toward the perceived goal. I don't know if it's necessarily good or bad, at least I'm not thinking about it from that standpoint, but definitely that level of consistency, I think, needs to be there.
Okay. Yes, Anastasia, I'm seeing that you have your hand raised.
I am thinking that when you're growing up, discipline is something that your parents try to instill in you with licks. And if you had parents that used to beat you for everything, what you do, what you didn't do, and all of that, discipline is a word you don't want to hear at all. You just want to. It's like if discipline is like in a prison. Discipline will feel like a prison, because you was not allowed to be you. You was allowed to be molded into what it is your parent wants you to be, and they're beating you for you to be in line with what they want for you. So when you start to grow up, you seeing discipline as a bad word, that discipline inflicting pain
Mm,
and is a force. It's not nothing that of your free will. So
mm,
sometimes people might have problem with discipline based on that. You know, they see discipline as something that you have to conform. You can't be you. You have to be who somebody wants you to be or what they say you have to do. They say you have to exercise because it's good for your health. And if you get that kind of rigid kind of upbringing, you rebelling against discipline. You just want to do you. That could be one of the aspects why people might be having problem with discipline, with the word discipline.
yes, that is in fact very, very, very true. And it all stems from, of course, past experiences. And in order to work with discipline and to understand discipline, you really have to have a different understanding of the word discipline. And I also wanted to share with you a post, I think it was done on Sunday. So let me just share this post with you. Can you all see my screen? All right. So this post says, when you wake in the morning and look out at life, what do you see? Are you weighed down and shaped by others' opinion of yourself, or are you constantly seeking to discover where truth lies in each moment? Remember that life will only reflect life, and it is you who must stand upon the foundation that you have created for yourself, no one else. So when you wake in the morning, how do you really see life and how do you view life? Because that, of course, will determine your level of discipline and also your consistency. Because if you are functioning from the chains that others have placed on you, then how can you be disciplined? Or are you shaped by what others say that you should be doing or what society says that you should be doing? How is your discipline shaped, or who is it shaped by?
I guess, like Anastasia says, a lot of it is shaped by society, culture, parents' upbringing. But for so long, we thought that that was okay. That is the way it was supposed to go.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, when your parents say something to you, it's like, do as I say, not as I do. You can't answer back. You can't, you know what I mean? So you just have to follow what they, you know, what they say. Even as sometimes as we get older, and you know, when it comes to talking to our parents or anything like that, you still, because I think for like my generation, parents, then it wasn't about you having conversation with your parents. It was about just do what I say.
Mm-hmm.
And even as you get older, no matter how old you get, you still had that innate fear of your parents. So you always had to kind of, this is what you were taught, this is what you were taught, this is what you were taught. So this is what you had to do. But now, being part of befitment and learning the new tools and hearing the things that is being taught, you have to open up your mind now to now relearn what you thought that you had to just follow. And in a sense, kind of become your own person and lead your own path. So I think a lot of it stemmed from, like I said, culture, upbringing, that fear of adults in a, you know, authority. So yeah, it's just it is a lot, has a lot to do with your upbringing and culture and society.
Yes, it definitely does. Because just as Anastasia said, and even as you said, Lisa, you would realize based on your experiences, based on your environment, you when you hear the word discipline, it might have a negative connotation in your mind. Whereas in discipline, you would recognize that persons who are disciplined, what they tend to do is find their fit or find what is best for them in the moment, in the experience, in their life. And when you look at it, you're realizing that is really what discipline is, finding your fit in life. But how do you find your fit in life? Because for some, they could wake up 3 o'clock in the morning, they could go on a run at 3:30, and then start everything, come back, bed, and organize food from 4 o'clock. Or for others, they might have to get up a little bit later, or even some, they might go to sleep by 9, then wake up by 5, and they would find their flow within all things. But when you really look at the word discipline, you're realizing that it is something that is really personal to you, because you really have to find your flow in order to get your desired results. But before you can even be disciplined, do you even know what you want? Have you even set your intentions? What
Do
are
you
you?
know who you are?
Yes. And do you know? Yeah, a lot of times when you ask people what they want, they don't even know what they want. Do you know what you want right now in this moment? And if you don't know what you want, then you have not set clear intentions. And if you have not set clear intentions, then you would not receive the results that you would like to receive. So this week might be another self reflection week. in terms of finding your fit. How do you fit? How does discipline work for you? Because what Catherine is disciplined at, Patricia will not be. It is not a one size fits all. So whereas Catherine might be able to wake up at 3 o'clock every morning, Paula might wake up at 5. Marina might wake up at 8. Kim might wake up at 7. You understand? So you really have to spend time determining what would work best for you as it relates to discipline. Some rather exercise in the morning, some rather exercise at night. Some persons rather have a hefty breakfast, others they rather something light for breakfast. What is your fit as it relates to discipline? How does it work for you? Have you all ever sat to think about it? Or did you really view the word as something that is a chore?
Good evening.
Good
I
evening.
think um,
I'm thinking that for me, is getting away from what I think Annalisa, not
Anastasia.
Anastasia, was saying. So much about right and wrong and good and bad. And when you said it is about finding your fit, but in terms of yes, you're finding your fit, but if you came out of that, if you're trying to come out of that good and bad space and finding your own rhythm, then you have to give yourself grace when, well, it's not even so much a question of giving myself grace, is cutting out the rigidity that even if you set yourself, this is what you like to do, this is what you want to do, this is where you want to go. And one day it doesn't work out the way you had planned. It's about not fretting about that one day and coming down on yourself, coming on myself about, look, you see, you didn't do it, and so you're falling backwards and so forth. It's just about just, okay, you didn't do it today, or you didn't do it at the time you thought it would be done. So, in terms of the discipline of the thing, for me, when I'm thinking about it, my work is trying to get past seeing discipline as something that has the punishment attached to it, even self inflicted, because you are usually a hardest critic. And if you think that you're falling back on something and you're coming from the space of discipline being associated with punishment and strictness and rigidity, then you really have to work twice as hard. It's like pumping out to ride up a hill. Funny, I should use a metaphor that has riding because I do not know how to ride. Um, yes, you really have to work at self to remind self that discipline is not what you thought it was. It has space, it has flexibility. You just have to focus on where you want to go. And if sometimes it means you, as told to me once, if you want to go going down the road, but it's okay to stop and smell the flowers. You know you're going down the road, but there's no problem in stopping to smell the flowers along the way. You enjoy the journey as you're going down the road. It is not about when you stop to smell the flowers, then you beat upon yourself and say you shouldn't be doing this because you should be going down the road. Down the road you were going. So enjoy the journey. So for me, the self-reflection is cutting out that self-inflicted rigidity. Yes.
Yes. Because again, sometimes we always have plans and plans and plans and plans and plans. And life has other plans, other plans, other plans, other plans, other plans. So you really have to look at the rigidity. And a lot of times you get stuck because, as SGL was saying, you didn't maintain the consistency, just as Catherine was just explaining. Just because you did not get it accomplished today does not mean you cannot continue tomorrow. Because a lot of times throughout life, we do not make any room for error. Everything should be perfect. And if it is not 100%, I don't want it. If it has a blemish, I don't want it. If it has a bump, I don't want it. You really have to look at leaving room for error, because a lot of times we always think that everything should be perfect. And where is perfection? The road must always be smooth. Show me a road that is always smooth. The trees must always be bearing fruit. Show me a tree that is always bearing fruit. It does not exist. Yes, Anastasia, I'm seeing that you have your hand raised.
A question came to mind.
Mm-hmm.
So, in being disciplined,
Mm-hmm.
don't we still have to give room for our soul to lead us? Because,
Yes.
okay, we set out today, we're going to do this. All right.
Yes.
But your soul might lead you on another path for
Yes.
that day. You
Yes.
understand? So, I think that you're supposed to leave space for for the leading of your soul. And if even said, okay, you didn't do what it is that you planned to do today, it does not mean that you're indisciplined. It just means that you had something different to do for that day. It don't
Yes.
mean, well, okay, you're going and throw away everything, you're going and throw away the water, the bathtub, everything, and that is it. It just means that today, that wasn't what your soul was requiring for you to do for that day.
Yes.
That's how I look at it, you know. So in discipline, I still feel we still give room to not just our agenda, but what the soul require for us to do.
And that essentially is what I meant by finding your fit. Because the fit for Catherine would not be the fit for Anastasia. And in finding your fit, remember you doing the self reflection and looking within before you proceed. That is how you find your fit, find your routine, what works best for you. Do you understand now in terms of finding your fit within everything? Because in finding your fit and looking within, your routine might start at 3. Someone else's routine might start at 6 in the morning. Another person's routine might start at 8. Your routine might require you to eat more fruits. Someone else's routine might require them to drink more water. Someone else's routine might require them to eat more veggies. Someone else's routine might require them to drink water whole day and don't eat anything at all. And that is why it really is important for you to find your fit before you proceed. How does discipline work for you? What does your routine look like? So, again, this is another self reflection week. What does your routine look like? If you do not have a routine, how do you create one? And of course, during this week's session, that is what will be discussed in depth, because our understanding of the word discipline and discipline itself is totally apart. So that is what we would certainly be looking at this week, because you're understanding now that the opinion you held or the perception that you held about discipline may not have been what is best, but knowing what you know now, how do you now apply it and put it into practice to ensure that it works for you, so that you do not have the same resolutions each year? You do not have the same desires for the past 5 years. How do you move from where you are to where you would like to be and to experience the life that you would like to have? So you really, really That is why I said at the start, this week is really, really, really important as it relates to discipline and your understanding. I seen two hands raised. Yes, Catherine.
As you were speaking and as Anastasia was speaking, what was in my thinking was be fit. Finding your fit is really about learning to understand also that you have to live in the moment. You have your intentions, yes, but in terms of tuning in to yourself, you may get a thought, go here, go there. And if you let your mind work with it, your mind will tell you, but that will interrupt my plans for today. No, and then you want to go and fight with that mind over some plan that you had for the day. But being present in the moment, the priority is to go there. And you will find that maybe going there will assist the plan that you had for the day. But if you fight up with what you had planned to do, and Anastasia was talking about letting the soul lead,
Lead. Mm-hmm.
then it's not a question of sometimes, it's a question of all the time. And all the time, then you would get a direction to do this or do that. Yes, this is what you would normally do at 5 o'clock in the morning. But for today, the priority is. So if you want to hold to that thing, okay, maybe the direction would be to, well, you need to get up maybe a little half an hour earlier and you will still satisfy doing that thing. But for now, the priority is go hither because if you have to go to work and you have to leave at 6 in the morning, you have to be on time where you have to go because you know X, Y, and Z, and you get up about 5:30, you're running late. What do you then do? Do you say my routine is to spend time meditating and I spend half an hour. I like to spend half an hour. So now half an hour bring you to 6 o'clock and you are not ready. You roll back, you push back. So it's now 7 that you're leaving. You have you decided for yourself that you're going to be late that morning because you're held to this thing where the priority may be, move this away, go with the flow, be flexible. Listen for what is the thought that's coming, what is the direction that's coming in the moment. So, and then you could get back to strict routine the next day. And that is something that I have to work on. I'm working on that. I have to, I'm working on that. So that it doesn't go back into the sort of punishment mode that we spoke about earlier. So the soul will always know what is required, and is in the moment you will get what is required, as opposed to how I would normally do it. I have this set and it must be done, and it must be done regardless of whether there's nowhere to do it that day. So once there's nowhere to do it that day, you just do what is to be done that moment. So I think again, I'm looking back to the flexibility and the living in the moment for finding my fit and my routine. I think for me, overall, the routine is tuning in, being mindful and being present and tuning in. And once I'm able to accomplish that on a consistent basis, as STL said, then I think I would find my fit.
Okay. Lisa, I'm seeing that you also had your hand raised.
Yeah, I agree with what Catherine and Anastasia is saying. Or actually what everybody's saying, but when what came to me is like you said, if you don't know what you need to be disciplined about if you don't know yourself. Because I like, Catherine was saying this, I think it was last week. We have so much going on in our mind, so much baggage from the past, so much of so many things that we have to be able to, number one, prioritize and know exactly what we're working towards. Know exactly, okay, I might have 5 things on my list, but I'm focusing on this one. Or sometimes we just don't know what, we need to work on it with ourselves. So I
Mm-hmm.
think in terms of finding that out and sitting still and being quiet and learning to be true to you and look within to find out what it is you really need to work on. Because you can't work on something if you don't know what it is. You have to be honest with yourself and be very mindful, be very present, like Catherine says. But the key is to know what you're working for, what the goal or what the objective is, or what the situation is, if you want to use that word, that you're working on becoming better at.
Yep. Because you see, now knowing what we know, you would recognize that discipline would really help you establish your true power. Because remember, you are working with what is required for you as an individual. You're not looking outside of you to determine what is required for you. You're looking within you to determine what is required for you, because what is required for someone else may not work for you. That is why you really have to look within to determine what is required for you. So even spend time this week looking within to determine what is required for you. For the persons though who have to answer the genius goals question, I would recommend that you answer it after Tuesday's session, because the sessions during the week they are very in depth, and a lot of times persons come and they come with their writing utensils to ensure that they take notes, because it is really really deep, and they want to also ensure that they don't miss anything. So for persons who would like to answer the genius goals question, ensure that you answer it after Thursday, not before, because again, Mondays are just the tip of the iceberg, and Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, they are really, really deep, and the details are very, very fine tuned. So answer the question after. And when you think about building a routine, so after you do your self discovery this week, and you determine what works best for you, how do you think that you can create a routine where you would ensure that you would have more time, you would have more control, and you would have more clarity? Does anyone here have a routine currently?
Yes, you have your work routine, you have your weekend routine.
Is it working best for you?
Right now, my routine, I would say yes. Um, sometimes you would like to, like, especially on the weekend, you like to sit back and relax because you have to, like, spend time with yourself and listen to your body. But you also have other obligations that you have to take care of. So sometimes, not that you want to put yourself on a back burner, but if you have things that's pressing, you also want to get that accomplished. Um, but like I said, like, it's all about when you get up, asking what's the next step, being in tune, being aligned with your soul. Because, like I said, sometimes even if you're extremely tired and you ask the questions and it might say, okay, well, take a 2 minutes nap. And you take a 2 minute nap and you wake up feeling revived, re energized, and then you're able to move forward. So When I say sometimes you have to push through, sometimes you pushing through doesn't mean not listening to your body, because if your body is extremely tired, you have to sleep well. You don't want to go out there and then not be able to function at 100%. But
Mm-hmm.
um, like I said, for me, I know like once I ask that question, and if it's like to take a 2-minute nap, I do that, and then do what I have to do. It generally tends to work out.
Okay. Because in creating your routines, as you do in the self discovery this week, ensure that your routine also addresses the three aspects of your being. It must address soul, it must address mind, and it must address body. Because you cannot have a routine that is only focused on one or two. It must really focus on three to really find your best fit. Your routine must focus on the three aspects of your being. So remember that as you are doing your self discovery and your reflection this week to determine what works best for you. Yes, Anastasia, I've seen that you have your hand raised.
Well, Adana, I laughing because I feel my routine's not aligning. Because just today I saying to myself, well, okay, I was feeling well, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I lie down today, I watch movie, I eat something, I lie down again, and I saying to myself, what kind of life is this? I fed up lying down. I fed up watching movie. Like I just fed up at the same thing over
Yes,
and over. So
yes,
maybe my routine is not in alignment with the three aspects of me. Am
yes,
I being?
yes, 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 yes.
Right. So I
And
guess I have to find the alignment for
yes.
the fed upness to go.
Well, that is why you're feeling fed up. Remember, life would push you in a particular direction so that you would place your focus there. So now that you know that, okay, I am fed up of this, then you ask the question again. You're finding your fit. What is required for you? What is your routine? What does it look like? And it must involve the three aspects of your being, because once you ignore one, you're certainly out of alignment. Because a lot of times we tend to focus on our mind when really you're supposed to be looking within to determine what is required for you from your soul. Yes, Lisa, I've seen that you have your hand raised.
No, because I wanted to ask Anastasia, because I think for a lot of us, especially Caribbean people, we think lying down is not doing something. So are you not in alignment because your body and your soul saying lie down and rest, and your mind is telling you no, you lie down enough, or no, you need to get up, or no, you should be doing something else. Resting is doing something. So if your soul and is saying, I am tired, I'm exhausted, lie down and rest, even if you have to lie down and rest all day, that is okay. So are you out of alignment because you thinking that you shouldn't be lying down?
No, nothing of this sort, Lisa. I have been feeling like this for a long time. I just feel like out of alignment. It have a character I say I fed up of the same thing over and over. That is it with me. I'm fed up of the same thing over and over and over. I think I just need a whole new life.
All right. So you see, you have some things that you definitely have to discover this week, or even it's not limited to this week. Ask the question, you think about what did you enjoy? What do you enjoy doing? Or even what did you enjoy doing as a child? Because now it have so many things that you could get involved with. You don't even have to physically go. You can check it out online. Right now, my sister is doing a makeup course online, and listen, she has to do her makeup. She has exams. She have to do presentations, and this is a free online course with the government. Sometimes I call her and her whole face is done. She said, no, I have to submit my work. And it is, listen, the access that we have now, we honestly do not even have to physically go there because she has been saying again for months she want to do a makeup course. She want to do a makeup course. She want to know how to apply her own makeup. And then they send out the ads, and she is in the course and she is immersed in this course. I tell you, sometimes I video call her and her whole face is beat on a regular day in the heat, in the hot sun in Trinidad right now. So Anastasia, for you also, you could ask the question, what is your next step? Then you might remember something that you always enjoy doing, something you always wanted to do. You probably always wanted to play pan. You probably always wanted to do a cooking course. You probably always wanted to learn how to sew, you know? And you would discover what is required for you because the feeling that you're getting that, okay, I am feeling fed up of this right now. That is how you would move where you're supposed to move because life is probably trying to push you in another direction. So also take this week to ask, what is my next step? Yes?
Yes, I will.
All right. And also, well, you are on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so you would certainly get more answers that you need. And also, if any questions come up, you could take note of them to ask during Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday session. Yes, Katrin, I'm seeing that you have your hand raised.
With respect to how Anastasia is feeling, I want to share something with you. Sometimes you may be in a holding pattern for something to come because that was me about 2 years ago. And I'm saying I'm tired of doing this, and sometimes I'd wake in the morning and before I even get to the window, I would hear rest today. And I would say, rest. And if I try to, because I'm accustomed to doing something, doing this, doing that, and I would look out and see this person is doing something and that person is doing something, and here I am, nothing to do, and this rest. And sometimes if I hear rest, I would try to do something, and probably I start to physically feel sick. My head would start to spin or something, and I have to go back in the bed. And I wasn't accustomed lying around, what I would call lying around doing. And I would say, what is there for me? And you'll hear rest. And what is rest? And okay, how many Nigerian movies you can look at? How much snacking can you do? And it turned out that now I'll be grateful to see a day in my bed. And because it was a holding, sort of rejuvenating kind of period for what was to come. And what was to come is pace and intensity. So sometimes, but because the mind was accustomed to always going, I had to have something to do because I would place the value of me, identify my value in based on what I'm doing, what I'm able to do, what is going on in the middle of things. You're doing something, there's activity. Whereas it was time to take a rest, get your physical in order, get yourself in order, do some self enjoy something because with frequent, constant activity with that kind of mindset, you're not really enjoying what you're doing. You're doing it because somewhere you were told that this is what you do. You must stay busy and you must stay active and you must. And so you may be in a holding pattern. I'm not saying you are, you may be in that there's something to come that requires you to spend this time the way it's being spent. And sometimes the frustration is the mind fighting against this is where you have to be at this point in time. So you say, I'm fed up doing this, I'm fed up doing that, because it is outside of what you would normally be doing. but it may be a holding pattern, like when you have the planes holding on the runway for something, and then they're allowed to take off. So perhaps it could be that. Just sharing what happened to me, because you can't see a Saturday now. You're looking for 3 hours to just you just wake up and you realize X, Y, and Z must be done. And you look back, I look back and say, I should not have grumbled when I was being told to rest, enjoy, lahi, laze. All those words used to come to me, all those words. Just lahi, just love up yourself. Go do your nails. Go do nothing. Do nothing. Just, and I would say nothing. And I would look outward for my motivation and look at what my colleagues were accomplishing and say, look at me doing nothing. See, so until I realized that, nothing is good sometimes, or nothing is doing something. So that might be another reason.
All right, so Anastasia definitely has a lot of food for thought this week. And guys, when you're spending some time with yourself this week, you don't have to think about, forcing and I need to find. No. You mightn't discover it this week, you might discover it next week. So give yourself some time. Give yourself some time. Because I know that it is a lot. Of course, befitment always brings you wisdom that is new and that might be a bit difficult or challenges to really adapt. And I know sometimes it might take a few days to think about it, to really let it resonate with you. So take some time, let it resonate with you, and see how um you would work together with discipline and determine what routine works best for you. And I am telling you, once you get your routine down, you will certainly be good to go. You do not have to compare yourself to anybody else during this time, because comparison is truly the thief of joy. Or even if you do not, you might miss a day. That is also okay. You just get back on tomorrow. You don't have to guilt yourself and beat yourself up because you missed a day. Just get back on the train tomorrow. You may not be able to get back on the train tomorrow. You get back on the train the day after that. You know, have a little bit of patience also with yourself, because I know because of technology, some of us tend to think that things are supposed to be a lot faster than they currently are. But everything unfolds as it is supposed to, and you are always where you are supposed to be to receive everything that you are supposed to receive. So spend some time determining what is the best fit for you. And I would like to also share something else with you as we go over this week's Balance Center schedule. Do you realize that we are at week 30 in the year? We are currently at week 30 in the year. Week 52 is right around the corner. I know this is something that you may not be paying attention to, but we are currently at week 30, and week 52 is just around the corner. So it would be good if you are interested in finding out about discipline, especially for this week, so you can make the best use of the rest of 2025 to achieve the things that you would like to achieve. So for tonight, we discussed discipline, the path to freedom. And then, of course, we still have our Java camp going on. And then tomorrow from 6 p.m., we would be discussing the science of self control, temptation resistance, and impulse management. That is why I told you all this week would be very in depth as it relates to discipline. And for those who are interested, feel free to reach out to us. And for those who can attend, ensure that you are walking with pen and paper, pencil and paper to take notes, because it is very, very, very in depth. Also, for all premium members, you have the Fuel and Flex full body workout from 7 p.m., both in person and online. And on Wednesday, we have the B Squad Java Team Camp again from 10. And from 6 p.m., we have Create Routines, not Rules. So we would be discussing building supporting systems above willpower. And on Thursday, we have the B Squad Java Team Camp again from 10. And from 6, we have the myth of balance in your life, where sacrifice and making peace with trade offs. So we would be discussing sacrifice and making peace with trade offs. And then from 7, we have the Fuel and Flex full body workout. On Friday, we have the B Squad Java Team Camp again. And from 5 p.m., we have Free to Be, where we celebrate, relax, restore, and unwind. And on Saturday, we have counseling and consultations, and we would be closed from 3 p.m. So, if you would like to register for the classes, which is also premium membership, you can contact us. Premium membership starts at $96, which is 15 USD per month. So you can download the app today to claim your membership, elevate your wellness, and begin your journey to more. And you, of course, you would see more, the full details at bfitment.com. And also, we have the Genius Goals Challenge, where you also get the opportunity to practice what we are discussing. That is essentially what the Genius Goals Challenge is. So you put it into practice, you answer the question, and you submit it. You have the opportunity to win a trip to St. Vincent and the Grenadines this year. So are you all ready? Of course, if you don't want to take it down, you don't have to, because it will also be posted online. So let me let you know what the Genius Goals question is for this week. So the question starts: spend time this week finding your fit with discipline. During self reflection, discover the routine that works best for you. And then you would also state, what does that daily routine look like? And it must also address all three aspects of your being, which is soul, mind, and body. So it is really about finding and stating and discovering your routine so that you would know what is your best fit to work with, what you might need to adjust, what you might need to adapt to, what you might need to discover about yourself. So spend time this week finding your fit as it relates to discipline. Because once you find your fit, imagine you're on a roller coaster right now. Your roller coaster might be a little rusty and you're not moving very fast. Or you might be trying to go uphill and you're stuck at the bottom, in the valley, because your roller coaster a little rusty. But once you find your fit and everything is running smoothly, you would be gliding along that roller coaster. Everything would be gliding along. So guys, spend the time with yourself this week. I know this is another week of spending time with yourself, but it's fine. This is for you. Remember, you are your greatest investment. And you might find that you discover some things this week, so we will definitely discuss it on Monday. We would be back here, same place, same time, for those who are interested. If discipline is something that you are struggling with, or you have been struggling with, as we all have, because we are all experiencing the same things, we just don't let each other know. Feel free to reach out to us so that you could be part of this week's session. Walk with your pens and paper so that you can take notes. Also, jot down any questions you might encounter during this week so that you could ask during the session, so that at the end of the week, you should have no more difficulty as it relates to discipline and achieving your goals and aspirations. So, guys, thank you for logging on. See some of you during the week. See the rest of you next week, Monday. I hope to see more of you during the week. And bring your friends. Invite somebody. Invite somebody. Invite somebody. All right, guys. Have a wonderful week. See you
Good
all.
night.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye
Good
bye.
night.
Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.